Me to You is the new album from YouTuber turned rapper and producer Quadeca. This new project has been in the works for a significant period of time now. The first couple of singles we got dropped early in 2020, I believe, and Quadeca essentially took an extended hiatus from putting out consistent YouTube videos as well. This is part of a growing phenomenon with online content creators attempting to cross over into other art forms, with music and specifically rapping being the most popular. Quadeca appears to have been doing this for quite a long time already. He's dropped music 5 to 6 years ago, and his rapping coincided with the whole YouTube diss track trend that peaked in 2018. Mega YouTubers like Rice Gum, the Paul Brothers, and even KSI were cashing in on this trend to fire disses at each other, and it sounded like they wanted them to be taken seriously, but they were also packaged as novelty joke songs. Quadeca jumped in on the action with his KSI diss song Insecure, and surprisingly had genuinely good lyrics and flows. If you've ever seen his rapping in the style of YouTube videos, of which he's done several at this point, you'll know that he's a pretty talented writer, especially for someone who's so young, and he appears to have an eclectic music taste as well. That eclectic taste makes it onto this new project, both in the lyrical content and the production style. I myself had no clue that Quadeca even produced beats himself, and when I first listened to this album, I was actually quite taken aback because of how strong the instrumentals are. Most of this album is characterized by a stark contrast between quite beautiful angelic vocal harmonies and swelling strings up against harsh, abrasive industrial and electronic sounds. Sisyphus, for example, opens with the angelic harmonies and lush, serene strings, before these blown out 808s and electronic ambient sounds just cut straight through them. The last minute or so turns into this violently drummed, chaotic moment that provides a pretty satisfying emotional climax to the song. Lyrically, this song and most, if not all, of the rest of the album seems to be following this loose concept involving all things mountainous. I quite like the idea of the metaphor that he's going for, the idea of always having something to look up to, look forward to, no matter how high you've climbed. In terms of this niche of YouTubers turned rappers, I haven't quite heard a project that is so cohesive and focused on one particular concept. There's a few features on this project as well, in the shape of Play That Boy Zay, Guapdad 4000, and IDK. And I don't know if this is a coincidence or not, but all three of these artists have very strong connections to the rapper Denzel Curry. Burning Bridges / Long Day with IDK is one of the genuinely stunning moments on this album. Like so many of the songs on this album, it's a mesh, it's a mix of all these different sounds, which I can only attribute to Quadeca's eclectic music taste. The opening portion has this rapid fire locked in flow and deep booming 808s and synths. If you've ever heard IDK's music before, you'll know that these are the kind of beats that he thrives off of. He fits perfectly on something like this. The second half of this song turns the energy up to 11. The instrumental kind of has this flume type energy to it. On this album, you can quite clearly hear the influences, the kind of sounds that he's drawing from, but those influences are always filtered through his unique lens. There's clear influences from the likes of Childish Gambino, Denzel Curry, Logic, but they never sound derivative. Songs like Can't You See and It's All a Game are where he seems to be pulling very heavily from another YouTuber turned musician, Joji. The former is a pretty ethereal, mostly instrumental track that serves as a quasi-interlude. It's All a Game is more overtly emotional. It's kind of a spill your heart, spill your guts type track. And those kind of songs do get more common as the album progresses. Quadeca brings a lot of personality, maturity, and perspective on this track, which is surprising considering how young he is. He sings quite a lot on this song and on other parts of the album as well. And his singing voice is genuinely strong. Now, this album is 18 tracks long, including a few interludes. It runs almost at an hour, so it's a pretty lengthy affair, and it does wobble from time to time. Smiling at the Ground sounds somewhat confused and muddled to me. The vocal performance is, I want to say it's inspired by emo music and pop punk music, but it kind of sounds awkward up against this particular abrasive instrumental. This is the one moment where it's clear that this song is overproduced. There's just a bit too much going on here. But even on songs like this, it's clear to hear that so much time and effort has gone into every single track. The strongest thing that it has going for it is that at no point in the album does it sound boring or nondescript. It's extremely ambitious as well, with the exception of someone like Joji. I haven't heard a YouTuber turned musician devote so much of their time and effort into their music. It's not just a side project or another source of revenue for Quadeca. It sounds like it's a genuine passion. It's not without its flaws, of course. Sometimes the lyrics can be kind of one-dimensional, kind of rudimentary. Sometimes the beats can be all over the place. They can be messy. And I do think the album could have done with being 10 to 15 minutes shorter. But it's thoroughly entertaining and interesting for the entirety of its runtime. On top of the fact that Quadeca has produced, mixed, mastered, engineered, and wrote this entire thing on his own as a 20-year-old, that's extremely impressive. I think a project like this should send a message to other content creators who want to venture into the world of music. It takes time and it takes skill and talent and a genuine passion as well. And without that, you end up with something like Addison Rae's new Obsessed song. The conceptual approach is very satisfying for me to hear. I think if he continues working the way he is now, he'll shake off the obvious sound of his influences and fully establish his own unique sound. Regardless of its flaws, I'm quite surprised at how much I actually enjoyed most of the songs on this album, and it's made me genuinely excited to see what he does next. Those are my thoughts on the new Quadeca album. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Make sure to like, subscribe, and dong the bell, and I shall see you next time.